Simon Sinek is an author, he's a motivational speaker, he's a business coach, and he's authored over 5 books, including Start With Why and The Infinite Game. Today I'm going to be sharing you a little bit about my perspective and what kind of information I've used from him and how it's helped me grow my business and how I've been able to add more value to myself, my clients, and my customers. So stay tuned, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you haven't already, make sure to click that ring notification bell on the side. All right, so before I started my career in real estate, I worked for other companies and they had a mission, vision statement that they'd already come up with. They didn't really ask me about it. It already was in place before I started working there. And it was great to have that framework there. I knew kind of what the company goals were, what their pillars were. And if you've worked in a corporate world, a corporate company, then you probably know that feeling. You've got some stability, you've got some framework. It can be very comforting to know where you can fit in and also where that company stands. When I started in real estate and I quit that corporate job, there was a bit more element to growing myself as a person, as a business professional. And part of that, the first year or so, I had to reach within and figure out, okay, what is it that Josh stands for? You know, I know that I sell real estate. Well, why do I sell real estate and how do I do that better serve my clients and actually do a job that is inspiring to me, that I enjoy doing, right? Because some people will embrace a certain type of business and it works really well for them. And then other people will embrace a type of business that's just not the right fit, right? And you've probably seen people in their business that they would probably be great business people, having their own business and serving clients, but maybe that particular sector is just not for them and they don't feel passionate about it. So I was really, when I first got started, it was really important for me to really lean into what I was good at and to understand what makes me, and why would people want to work with me versus somebody else. And if that's you, then stay tuned. I think this video will be valuable to you, and I'll give you a little bit about my review of Simon Sinek and how he helped me really lean into who I am as a person and how I can serve my customers and grow my business. So first I want to start with why I like Simon. So Simon is somebody that I can relate to because he's very authentic, he's very insightful, he's calm. There's a lot of motivational speakers and they're very boisterous and they're very passionate and they're very energetic, and I do appreciate that, I really do. And they can help with that motivational time as you're going through maybe a tough week or a tough month, growing your business, getting your business off the ground, or if you're in a lull, a patch where you're not so excited about your business, and those guys can really energize and get you going again, so you find that passion. And that's something that Simon, he definitely talks about that, but he provides a perspective. It's a little bit calmer and something that I can relate with. And I think more importantly, he's very authentic and he really wants to help his viewer and whoever is listening to him. So I want to share a quick clip and then we're going to go ahead and get into some of the top things that he's helped me out with. And the first one is authenticity.
We go and do focus groups to find out how we can differentiate ourselves, which I think is funny, which is the same thing as asking your friends sort of, how should I talk to you and how should I dress so that you'll like me more? And your friends are going to look at you and be like, what? You're like, how do you want me to talk to you and how do you want me to dress so that you'll like me more? Because I care. And your friends are going to be like, I don't know, just be yourself, right? And this is what companies do. They go get outside advice to how to be themselves, how they should present themselves to the outside world. The way you differentiate yourself is you are yourself. It sounds silly, but it's true, which is you know what your vision is and your cause is. You know what you stand for. You know what your culture is, which means you know what your values are, just like a person, right? And you work hard, imperfectly, because like a person, we're imperfect and messy, and you work hard to do things that represent what you stand for and operate in a way that represent your values. And what starts to happen is you start to stand out because you're consistent. And people start to be able to say, I know what you stand for. And you start to become predictable. And you're either very attractive to some people who believe what you believe, or people don't like you because they don't believe what you believe. Both of those things are good.
So I think that clip has been really important for me because it has allowed me and given me the permission to really be myself and lean into what I am as a person, right? And so I have certain traits that other people do not have, and other people have certain traits and characteristics that I don't have. It's just part of being human. And I think it's important, especially when you're in business for yourself and you are the brand in a lot of ways, in real estate or maybe insurance, or you've got a contracting company or a sandwich shop, really anything, tax services. In a large part, you are the brand, right? And so you need to lean into who you are, right? And so that could come across in the way you dress, right? So I like wearing sport coats and a dress shirt, a little bit more formal maybe around here in Central Coast, California. But when I'm out in the field, generally I'm not gonna have a sport coat on because it's a little too formal. So in my office, when I'm doing these videos, I have a sport coat, and out there I'm not. Other people are really casual. They wear shorts and a t-shirt, and some people wear suits with ties, and that's just not me. So I needed to find out where I stand and what works for me, and just lean into that and be authentic. I think that's one thing that I've taken away from Simon, is just be genuine, be authentic. The rest is gonna follow, and consistency is key. So find where you are, kind of what makes you you, and just lean into that. You know, stay consistent with that, and don't look to other people. You know, unless your business is faltering, right, then you need to get some, some insight and some feedback from your clients and your customers or prospective clients. But that was one thing for me when I was just getting started, really helped me a lot. And it probably helped you if you listened to them, of just that reminder of being yourself, of being authentic, being genuine, and having consistency so that people know what to expect when they interact with you. And then understand that there's gonna be some people who just, they don't click, right? They just don't click. And that's fine. Those people can go work with somebody else. But there's some people who really like me, and for instance, they like me, they like working with me, and I'm really happy about that. And so being consistent and being genuine, and then like Simon says, kind of those people in between. And so I would encourage anybody watching this that if you're getting started in business and you're trying to be something that you're not, you might be headed down a path that's not going to lead to a positive outcome. And I just really encourage you to be yourself and to lean into that within reason, right? But to lean into that still, if you're being professional, and that really is, I think, an important factor, important insight that I've learned from Simon. All right, so if you've listened to Simon before, you've also probably heard about his phrasing, which is start with why. Now, I have put this into perspective, I've put it into practice, and I'll tell you a little bit about what that means for me and what it might mean for you, right? So just in a quick recap, let's go ahead and take a look at what he means by start with why.
About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist?
All right, so in this clip, obviously Simon is talking about leaders and managers and people maybe who have companies. And for me, it's just me. I work with my brokers and I hire people from time to time, kind of freelance style. But as I grow my business, I really have to keep in mind what my vision is, right? Why am I doing what I'm doing, right? So for me, I sell real estate, right? So I sell real estate, and that's the what. What do you do? I sell real estate, right? And then how do you do that? Well, I reach out, I send letters to prospective sellers. If I have a buyer who's interested in buying something, I'll call around to other brokers and I'll pinpoint who's selling and who's buying. If it's investors, then I'll host investor workshops and get them some value. So that's how I do it. And then that why. That was something that I think was difficult for me to initially pinpoint, right, when I was starting in business. And if people are just going to ask you on the street, what do you do, right? I sell real estate. If they've only got 30 seconds, that vision of why can sometimes be a little bit more lengthy. So you don't have to always share that, but having that in the back of your mind is really important. And that's something that Simon has really helped me out with, is to understand that big picture why. So for example, let's say you're somebody who sells tools, right? Garden tools. You sell garden tools. What do? You sell garden tools. Okay. And so why do you, or how do you do that? Well, we buy the manufacturers. We put the pieces together. We have the screws. We have the metal. We have the different components. We have the distributors, etc. Well, why do you do that? Why? Maybe we believe in a world where if people garden more, there can be more peace. There can be food that people can have that they've worked with and got their hands dirty, and so it gives them a fulfilled life, right? Our why is helping people live a fulfilled life. So that might be something for that, right? And there may be some things that are a little bit more plain, right? That you go, hey, you're a tax accountant. Why do you do what you do? Well, there could be a variety of reasons. If you don't do your taxes right, you might find yourself in a heap of trouble, and your most fulfilled life will not be that achievable because you'll be in prison or you'll be trying to, pay back your taxes. So even a tax accountant can have a why. And so for me, I think that there's a couple different things depending on if I'm working with investors or buyers or sellers, and that is my why is one with investors. It gives people freedom. So if people can develop and understand real estate and they're good investors, they can have freedom and they can use their extra free time that they have from their income from real estate, and they can go do something that's more passionate for them, right? Maybe it's missions, maybe it's helping with clean water, maybe it's helping clean up the oceans, humanitarian efforts, I don't know, but it gives them the opportunity to do that, and that gives me a lot of value, and that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, is there's a bigger picture because of it. If there's a seller, giving them the most money and least stress possible so they can move on to the next portion of their life. And then if it's a buyer, I think that there's the aesthetic feeling of living in a house that you love, where you feel happy going home, that gives you that value so that you can go out and live your life. So there's a lot of different whys for me, because I serve different customers. But when that clicked and I understood why I'm doing what I'm doing, it gave me that momentum to continue to work, right? Because sometimes work can get a little bit daunting. So that was important for me to get that motivation and to have that bigger reason. So I would encourage you, if you're starting a business or maybe even if you're working for a company, to understand what their why is and to have your own personal why. If you ever start a business for yourself, and it could be a simple business, it could be a sandwich shop, or it could be selling real estate like what I do, or it could be insurance, selling insurance, it could be taxes, it could be really anything. And so I encourage people to work for themselves. It's a very rewarding thing, but it's more important than ever if you're not an employee and if you work for yourself and you lead yourself, manage yourself, to have that why and really understand why you're doing what you're doing. All right, so lastly, we're going to talk about passion. So we're going to take you through this quick clip that Simon shared about passion, and then I'll talk to you about how I incorporate it into my business and my personal life.
Passion, we're all passionate, we're just not all passionate for the same things, and we will feel what we call passion when we are involved in something that is deeply personal to us, that is helping us advance some higher purpose or cause. Then when we go to work, what we what we experience as passion. But if you make us do something that we feel no personal connection to, that is not us helping advance any kind of bigger ideal, then what we feel is stress. Now, passionate people work many hours, they don't come home, they miss their families, they take business trips, they don't sleep, and yet it feels worth it. People who are stressed go on business trips, they miss their families, they work long hours, they don't sleep, but it doesn't feel worth it. Passion is an output, not an input. Like stress is an output, not an input. So you can't do what you're passionate about. You find something you believe in, and what you will experience is passion. So then it begs the question, how do I find what I believe in, right? I think society, especially our society, and especially for a younger generation, puts overwhelming pressure on us to have a vision. What's your vision? Or find your bliss, or all of these, they're all the same thing, right? And the problem is we're not all visionaries. It's unfair. It's an unfair standard. That's like telling everybody to be creative, but we're not all creative. Or everybody be good at math, but we're not all good at math. We're not all visionaries. Only a small percentage of our population are actually visionary. You don't have to have a vision. You have to find a vision.
So this really helped me when I was trying to figure out how I could find that vision, be passionate, right? And so Simon gave me that perspective of, okay, look, you don't have to be visionary, you just have to find somebody who has a vision, right? And then follow along with them. And that will help you get your passion. And just breaking it down in a very palatable way was important for me, because if you know anything about business, there's a lot to do. There's a lot of different hats, and you're working in marketing, you're working on emails, you're working on, for me, market analysis and investment analysis and breakdowns and all this stuff, and the events that I do. And it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. So keeping something where you don't have to reinvent the wheel is really something that helped me when I was listening to Simon, because he's very practical. He's a very practical person. So, in review, the three big takeaways that I've taken from Simon: start with your why. That was really important for me, and then be passionate. Or how to find your passion was really a really a good one. And then another really important was be authentic, and I think that was the most important one for me. So, what do you think? Have you listened to Simon before? Has he helped you in your business or life? If you have some ideas on what he's done for you, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I really appreciate that. And please, I really appreciate a like, a subscribe if you're interested, and I hope to see you on the next one.